And we're live. Hello, hello. Hello, Suki's headphone. Hello, Sean and Jake and Philip and Kevin and Juan. How are you all? That mysterious headphone you're seeing belongs to Suki. Hi. Is everyone hearing her okay? I am not seeing your audio right now. Say hello, Suki.
Hi,
There we
what's
go.
up? On the visual, I'm a little bit cut off though. Just a heads up. Um,
You were when you were leaning out, but now you are
okay.
in.
Okay, I'll just stay here then. I won't move from this position. Okay.
Well, I can't vary the shot as we go through, so all I can do is like shrink you and move it over a little like this. Would you please stop ringing? How is everyone? Smooth start to the live. Hi. I am currently in Hong Kong and Suki is joining us from Hawaii. What time is it there?
It's like 4 p.m. right now. That was 4.
Excellent. So a little intro for Suki. We first met gosh, I don't even know, 7 or 8 years ago. I was shooting for a book and we met for that and met at some little national park and shot under near a coral reef or something
Yeah.
that was really cool. And then
Yeah,
we
there was another girl and her boyfriend. I remember we shot on the.
on the rocks, yeah. And then there was some
Yeah.
strangers in the distance also watching, which was fun. Yes, that's all in my public buddies book. And then we were able to connect in LA it feels like 3 months ago, but probably like 6 weeks ago to go through the desert during a really fun heat wave and shoot our real world road trip. So the last 2 weeks didn't quite work out timing wise, but it was great to have her join us today to take a look at your abandoned shots because we actually shot at a bunch of abandoned stuff in the desert ourselves. So it kind of ties in nicely. But what do you do now? I know that you are running a nightclub and you have a bunch of different side hustles and you are a Twitch streamer. Where can people find you if
Yeah.
they want to keep up with you?
I'm on Twitch. I like stream under Suki Yuki 3. It's the same as my Instagram.
Hmm.
SUKIYUKI 3. So that's my Instagram and my TikTok and everything. That's all my all my socials for them go under
So I
the same name.
saw in the corner of your room a bunch of like Nvidia gaming cards or something. Is that what your Twitch is? Are you a gamer?
Well, I do play video games, but I don't really play on stream. I mostly like just talk or like do things like exercise or to give like dating advice and stuff like that.
Or now I have to
Um,
join in because hearing some of your opinions on the road trip, that could be really fun. You said that you use your your bouncy, what is it in the background? A trampoline or something.
Oh, my little trampoline. Yeah, sometimes I get drunk and I jump on it. I fell off of it once and I almost twisted my ankle. It was fun.
Okay, so there you go. If you want dating advice or drunken workout tips, then check out her stream. I've popped her Instagram in the chat as well. And a link to our road trip. The sale is finishing in just over a day, so don't miss out on that, the launch sale. So let's jump in. We have Juan and Yobo in the chat who will kind of curate the questions for us. So if you have a question for me or Suki, please fire away and we will answer them as we go through the photos. Let me just jump in and show you. So I included, I'm going to try and do this in future weeks, some of my own shots when I have some that meet the theme as examples. What's good for the goose. Now, image review, here we go. So these are a couple from our course to begin with, from the road trip. I don't know if there's any historic car experts in the room, let us know, but it's some kind of super old car with basically the block is all that's remaining of the engine that we shot out in the desert with a poncho that some of you might recognize from my natural light course in Vegas, and I also think I had Johanna wear it once on YouTube. This one, which was maybe the hottest place I've ever been, and I was wearing slightly more clothes than Suki in the, what do you call this thing? The pool that we shot in, where you were walking back and forth doing a catwalk.
Oh, like the onesie, the teddy,
Oh, I meant
the
the
oh,
location.
the lazy river.
Lazy river, that's
Oh
it.
yeah, the lazy
That's
river.
not a term I'd ever heard, but apparently Americans know that term. So a lazy river, which meant the desert sun was being reflected from three sides back up and roasting Suki like a rotisserie chicken. Um,
Mm.
Long dry, what do you call that? Windmill water pump that was out near the abandoned car actually. And then these ones, we shot a lot of it at an abandoned water park in the desert, which may get reopened one day. But this was like at a concession stand in the water park. And again, you would have seen those two images, no doubt. I've been sharing those a little bit. And then here's the color version of the one I put on Instagram the other day, because actually Suki requested a color one. So, do you speak Spanish? I had to Google what Certo meant and then made the caption off that. Do you speak Spanish, Suki?
Nope. That would be kind of funny if it was something really profane.
Yeah, fortunately, no. It just means certain, apparently.
Oh.
Hi to Paul and Jam and 101, Rob, Andrew, thanks all, Cody, thanks all for joining the video today. And then I have included in here a couple of shots from my Route 66 trip that I did a couple of years ago with my dad. If you guys didn't see that one, I will pop the link to the YouTube video of that in the chat as well. That was kind of just a casual family trip, but it was, I mean, old wrecked Americana. It was a great opportunity for doing some shooting as well. This abandoned house still with the private property sign and a bunch of, like, I think they were Trans Ams or something rusted out in the grass in the front. This one actually wasn't abandoned, but I included for Suki because it seems that the unicorn is your spirit animal, is that right? Or you are a
Yes.
unicorn, or I'm not really sure.
Oh.
Oh, there you go. This creepy thing
I should
about
get one of
this,
those.
you should, and see if you can ride it drunk as a workout. The creepy thing about this scene, you see the American flag in the background, it was like a scene from 4th of July long weekend. There was a pool, there was a wading pool, there was a sprinkler going, there was a grill just out of the shot that had like food cooking for an entire family and a picnic table set up with 6 places. But when we drove past, it was just completely empty. So we like pulled in, I took this shot and there was sausages sizzling, and it was just like a ghost town where everyone had scattered. It was, yeah, kind of a spooky scene. Flower spikes, I see your question. I'm not really sure what you're not following. Then this one just of the wind turbines. Kitty cat in an abandoned car. Along the route, there's all of these old hotels that have just been long since abandoned, and drive-in movie theaters and stuff. If you guys get a chance, Route 66 is really just so fantastic. Just take your time and give yourself like triple the time you think you'll need, so you have the time to make stops. Found a bunch of abandoned houses that were just completely littered with old books. It seems that was the only thing they had left behind, so this was the floor of one of the houses. And here we are into our actual image review. So flower spikes and anyone else who's just joining us, we're going to go through and look at the shots that you all entered with the theme of abandoned for this week's competition. We'll be giving away some prizes, including a copy of our road trip. So, of course, this is Suki's and my opinion, and we're just two nerds. You don't have to agree with it, so please get involved in the chat and give us your thoughts as well. So what do you think of this one? Suki, Adam Anderson abandoned with the truck setting sun, and then looks like he's put a flash or something in to light up this abandoned gas station.
I really like it. It's actually a lot like going on in one picture, which is kind of cool. I like how, you can see the sun setting in it, but then you also can see a bit of the starlight. Wait, was
Mhm.
that like is that like part of the edit? Like you just took like a night shot or something and a sunset shot and then just kind of transposed them together
It
or blended them
it
together. Is that
could
what he
it
did?
could be two exposures blended together, but you're right. There's a lot going on. So it's a long exposure. You see the stars have moved a little bit. There's something
Mm.
flying through the sky above the roadhouse. He's popped a light or turned the light on in the cabin of his truck to try and balance it. And it looks like he's put a flash along the ground to light up the bitumen in front as well. So there's actually like 4 or 5 different zones of light going on there. So I think for the effort alone, first shot of the day, I'm going to give that a pick. If you have any as we go through, Suki, that you really like, let me know and I will. Oh, Suki's gone. Nope, your image just
Huh?
reset for
Here?
some. No, you're here. Just it
Oh,
does this
where?
sometimes. Skype, your image just like
Oh, now
jumped
I'm
to. No,
at
I'm
the
going to
corner.
reset you. I'm going to reset you. Don't worry. So that's going to be your two-shot angle. I'm just going to put us on full screen whilst I fix up our other shot. It does that sometimes. It just decides to
Mhm.
screw us up.
Is that OBS?
Yeah, it only ever does it to my guest's Skype stream. It just pops them out for some reason. So I will fix it. Normally only does it once.
It might be that. Yeah, it might be that setting where like when you click into another window, it puts a pop-up. It was doing that for you when I was clicking into like the YouTube channel. That might be what it
Okay.
is.
Oh, okay.
I think
Maybe.
you can disable that.
I will check it. Let
Well,
me know
another time.
afterwards.
Yeah.
And damn it, it just did it again. It just made you bigger. That's so weird. Why is it
Huh.
doing this? Okay, so you are just going to be over my head at the moment. So be it. Give us your thoughts on Adrian Moss's car whilst I try and fix this.
Let's see. Oh wow, how did that car get up there? Huh.
I
That's
like
yeah.
not
Okay.
this one. Sometimes I've seen shots of like I think in like the Czech forest where people left pianos and stuff out in the forest and then the forest grew and then the piano's like halfway up a tree because it grew up with the tree, but that one's on a platform, but pretty cool still.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool shot.
And with the
Um,
helmet in the car as well.
oh yeah. I wonder if there's a body in there. Huh. It's not all that was just behind censored for ours.
What do you guys in the chat think of this one? How the car? I guess there's probably just a ramp at the back to get it up there. It looks like it was probably previously like a buggy for storming around the
Yeah.
track or something,
Yeah.
or it could just be that they put
I
it up
mean,
there to be able to work on it.
yeah. It's a little bit. Do you think it's a little bit bright? The shot is a little bit bright, though. That's my only thing that I'm thinking. But other than that, I really think it's a cool shot. Um,
Looking at the exposure, it's only really the sky that's blown out. The you could
yeah.
you could bring it down a little. Let's see. We could.
Is there something blurry in the front? Oh, that's a leaf. I was like, what is
Yeah,
that?
just the trees in the foreground. But we could punch it up just a little bit. Make this approve. Okay. Why is it going into proof mode? I didn't ask you to do that. Library.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool.
The way the Hogwarts juice instead. The flying car that Harry and Ron stole. That's actually pretty
Nerd
accurate.
alert. Okay, so Jason and Suki will appreciate. I'm currently trialing a new assistant. Well, not trialing. I had his first day to come in and check us to see how he would do. And
Actually, it looks
he's
very similar.
really.
Yeah, here, wait, let me send you a picture of it. It's pretty funny.
As I
It's
was
pretty
going.
accurate, actually.
Do you Harry Potter guys know that this is a thing? The guy who I was trialing, he in his reel he did a short documentary on Quidditch, and people play Quidditch like playing touch football. So
Oh
they
yeah,
run
they have
around with.
Quidditch at my college too.
Okay, so it's not just a Hong Kong thing. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
didn't know it was a thing, but apparently, with respect, it's a way that they're getting lots of nerds who normally wouldn't play sports to go play sports. So it's basically you're like playing a cross between touch or tag, football, and I don't know, lacrosse or something, but you're just running around with the ball to throw through the hoop. But yes, so there you go. If anyone who took these shots is in the room, then please let us know the backstory of where you found them, what it was, where you took it, all of that good stuff, so we can get an idea of that. Let's take a look at the next one here from a Freakative. To be honest, this is a pier shot. It doesn't really strike me as abandoned. Maybe just the fact that the piers are a little cracked, but it looks like a functioning pier to me. It doesn't really look like something abandoned. If this were a shot that like no one ever goes under a pier to take a shot, then it would be kind of an unusual thing to see, and that might feel like it's abandoned. But because every competition we will get a shot taken underneath the pier, it's such a familiar sight. It's only really the cracks that make it feel a little abandoned, but the fact that there's boats moored right there, I don't really think this is abandoned. Do you get a abandoned vibe from this one, Suki?
I think at least like the black and white kind of sets like a sort of like apocalyptic almost mood. But I do think that if they took it in the boat, they took out the boats, then it would look a lot more abandoned or like, yeah, yeah, it would look a lot more abandoned or,
Yeah, for sure. It'll be
sur
kind of desolate and, yeah, like a
yeah, but
ghost
I
town.
think that, yeah, yeah. But if with the way they edit it, and if they had just edited out or somehow shot the picture without the boats, I think that would have fit the theme well.
Good one. And that would be very easy to take out the boats without anyone noticing if you did want to do that. I mean, I would actually take it to Photoshop and use the patch tool, but you could probably even just use this guy in Lightroom. This is going to be rough. That's rough, roughity, rough. Okay, create a proof. You going to do it for me? Here we go.
Yeah, oh, I can see it. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly at all a clean edit, but with a minute or two of time, you could get that guy out. Tom is suggesting if there was like some driftwood on the shore or something instead of boats on the water, that would feel more abandoned. I agree.
Have you heard of Salton Sea?
Have you heard about the
I think
idiots who hang out there at sunset and steal GoPros? Jerks. I didn't actually include that in the video because I thought it was too much of an aside, but at the end of our huge day of filming, I think it was on the Sunday of our road trip, we stopped at this place called the Salton Sea, which is a dead inland sea that smelt horrific, and then it was like what, 106 or 110 degrees Fahrenheit weather. We'd been in the car for a few hours driving there in the AC. You get out and then you're in the desert, but you're beside a body of water, so it's suddenly actually a bit humid as well, and it's just stank like rotting fish because it was rotting fish. So we were there just dripping with sweat for an hour until the sun set and we got our shots. And I had lost my GoPro, which I tend to do quite a bit. And we ended up walking around for like half an hour, just wanting to get home, exhausted. And it turns out one of the locals thought it was funny that he had picked it up and was just hiding it and giggling as we walked around trying to find it until one of his friends dobbed him in. So thankfully Suki didn't punch anyone in the head and we got back to the hotel at like 10 o'clock at night.
What makes you think I would punch anybody? Oh my God.
Okay, so I didn't then. I was very frustrated and exhausted at that point.
Oh.
No, of course.
Yeah, like I was just playing a trick though. I don't think he was trying to take it at least. I
he
think
thought he was being funny.
yeah.
Yes.
So at least it was not like outright theft. So that was, you know.
Yes.
Oh, it's AFI created. I think that was his picture of the pier. He just
Yes.
commented in the video, yeah.
Cool. Thanks for joining us. Let us know where you took at AFI. What do you think of this one from Brian Passover, Suki? Personally, so it most likely is abandoned. It's taken at 18 mil at f14. It
Is
is
it
a little
now?
dark
I see an
to.
HT sign monitored by a ADT alarm company.
Where is that? Oh yeah, yeah,
You
down in the
zoom in
bottom.
on that sticker
So
on the window.
that's kind of what I was going to get at. The left side doesn't really give us anything, but it's kind of the pile of bricks here on the left. I think you want to get in on the detail, so I would probably come in closer and just get it on. This won't do it justice, but getting it in just on. Would you stop it? Let's make it a 4x5 maybe. Just on the 99th Avenue sign. And if you were in really wide on the shot like that, we could get a lot more detail on the actual shop front and the fact that it's really in disrepair. When it's so wide, it's hard to kind of get a sense of the whole shot.
Yeah, or if they like went up really close and took a shot like from like below it, looking up at the sign or something. But yeah, and it's hard. It does. I mean, I'm sure it's like vacant, but it looks like it's still maintained. It's just
It just looks
empty,
like
I
a shitty
guess.
roadhouse here. Talking of taking a shot and looking up, that's this kind of shot that I did at the Cotton Bowl Motel is an option you could go for. So let's get back to where are we? So next up we have David Moore and
Ooh, that one. Yes, I do like this one a lot, actually. Kind of cool. I was looking at
okay.
that one earlier.
So tell us, what do you like about it and what says abandoned about it?
I mean, the sign is rusted, corroded.
Sorry,
The
are we looking at the same one? David Moore, this is a bridge.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were just talking about the cotton ball one,
Oh
the
no,
mocha
sorry.
one. Oh,
That's actually
the
the cotton ball one's one of mine. We're back to
oh,
David Moore now.
oh, okay. Well, good job, Matt.
Thanks, bro. I'm going to give myself a copy of the course.
Well, that doesn't look abandoned.
Yeah,
Um,
so I guess that's maybe a distinction. I think some of the shots we've had entered, like the long exposure under the bridge, are empty, but they're not abandoned. With this
yeah.
has got
It's
Christmas lights
also
on it.
yeah. It's also like there's a lot of blurry elements to it. And I know like, you want to blur the foreground, but like certain things like I feel like the detail of the tree branches and stuff that are closest and even like if you zoom in on the actual bridge itself, there's not a lot of clarity like to the detail about it, I feel. Or that's just maybe it's just my computer. But it just does seem blurry. Like not if you zoom in on the finer details, but I don't know if that's like
It could be
important or
because we
not.
only have, it's like not a full res image, but let's have a look. It does look
Oh,
like the focus could be past the bridge. But yeah, it's a 5 second long exposure. It's
okay.
not level. Part of that's due to the angle that you're shooting at it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I personally, whilst it's a nice shot of a bridge in the center of town, I personally don't get an abandoned vibe from it. I just get like a long exposure in the city vibe from it.
Hmm.
Send in your questions, folks, and we will jump in and answer them after two more shots. This one from Dirk Hassis. I guess in a sense this is like recently abandoned. A bunch of trash from the fruit market that's been left out to just, I guess, be collected and be trashed. But then you've got, like I assume at every fruit market, when all this stuff gets thrown out the back, it's prime for someone else to grab and take home for free. So what?
Elbing Matthias Festival. What is this? Is this Germany?
Um,
Oh yeah, .de. Is that Netherlands? I see the
I think it's Germany.
okay. They must have had a very nice party there then. It looks like they had a
Well,
party.
Dirk is often in the chat, so let's see if he joins us. Yeah, so I don't know what Helbing is, but it looks like one of those healthy digestive liquors that would go lovely with the big box of rotting fruit. So the crazy wide angle lens on this, so this is a 10.5 mil, and it looks, you got the fisheye effect kind of going on here. I do like the super wide angle to get in all of the boxes in the foreground. Maybe an option would have been to step to your right and forward and squat right down. You could get this lady in between the two boxes here, so like use this gap in the boxes to frame her. But yeah, I like it. It's kind of not abandoned in the long-term ghost house type abandoned, but it is something that's been discarded. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's kind of a cool like thing to see how much human waste we make, I guess. It's a
Oh, so deep and meaningful. Let's talk about the human condition, yes. Although at least most of that, the boxes and the fruit are going to be biodegradable, except for the shit ton of wrapping plastic and the plastic crates. Yeah, okay, so I take your point. Let's look at one more, then we'll answer some questions. So, okay, so I think maybe we need to broaden it. A lot of people have just kind of using abandoned, empty, discarded interchangeably. I do like to keep things broad, so none of these are disqualified. There's no one there, so I guess you could say this is a road outside of a ghost town and it's abandoned. It just hasn't fallen into disrepair yet, so it is cool with the leading line. It looks like something fun to take a little sports car on for the weekend, except for the risk of hitting a moose apparently from that sign, or an elk.
Gotta watch out for those sneaky 2,000-pound mooses. They come out of nowhere.
Is mooses the collective noun for mooses? Like not collective
I've
noun, but
heard
the
that they're
plural.
interchangeable. Interchangeable is
Moosey?
plural. Like
Muse.
moose, or you could say moose and you could say mooses, and I heard that like neither are wrong.
Like sheep and sheep. Um, what do you think of this shot?
Well, I guess like it's not abandoned, but the shot itself, I actually really like. It's a really nice shot that they took. Um, yeah, that's what I have to say about it. I really like the shot itself. I'm not sure if it
Cool.
qualifies under the abandoned theme, but it's definitely empty, and they definitely did a good job on it, in my opinion.
Yeah, the line through there and the balanced exposure, the what you've done on the sky to paint that exposure down. Again, just be a little. I know it's tricky on a shot like this, but it's quite obvious that you've brushed in to bring down the exposure on the sky because all of the tree tips are darker as well. So maybe just do that with a mask on, the auto mask on, to try and not catch the trees because it's kind of quite obvious when you see that like that. So let's jump back, and if you have any questions for Suki, please do fire away. It's kind of her to join us today, so let's have some fun and ask her some questions. Questions here that we've had so far. Thank you to Juan and Yobo for sending them through. Thomas Haynes, who helped me get my live stream set up, hi Tom, says Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a race car graveyard, wrecked rusted cars just sitting in the woods, greenery growing around and through the cars. Photos from it would probably be great for this theme. I'm not sure if where is that, Tom? Because on Route 66 we stopped off at, it was right on the side of Route 66. I mean, like, you only had to walk 20 feet from the road and you were in it. A whole bunch of cool old Americana vehicles. They weren't all race cars though, but there was probably like 60 or 80 of them, and it was
I would,
fantastic for
I would
photos.
assume that if he did have a race car graveyard, it would be in like North Carolina, or like yeah, that area where they actually race. I don't think I think it's not like along Route 66.
Do you know who Dale Earnhardt Jr. is? I don't.
Yeah, he was a NASCAR driver. a really famous one. Well,
Well, there you
um,
go.
yeah. Well, his father also was really famous. Oh yeah, see, Thomas said it is in North Carolina.
There you go. Okay, look at Suki bringing it in
Oh, good
with the
call, see.
local, Americana info for me. Andrew Doherty is saying that moose is singular and plural, not mooses. So there you go. We have been corrected. And Andrew also asking, how did the sample images go shooting with the Nikon ZFC? This is him. I had it out yesterday. So I did follow what you guys requested. Thank you to everyone who filled in your feedback for what you'd like to see tested. I may still go and do another part because I couldn't get it all done in a day. But we did a bunch of different stuff, adapted lenses, long lens stuff, shooting some wildlife, shooting some street. We did some fitness shots with with Honey, night shots, low ISO, high ISO, low ISO, flash, added and colored lights, all kinds of good stuff, like a 11 or 12 hour filming day. So I hope that I will get that up probably middle of next week, and I'll have a bunch of sample files for you guys too. And I've already shared a couple of shots on Instagram. Suki, Sean Vine has a question for you. How did you get started in modeling?
Um, Honestly, like, it's one of those things where I always wanted to try it, but I was too shy to. So I kind of just like waited around until a photographer actually asked me to to do a shoot. Um, and then I did one, and then I guess once you post your first shoot or first photo shoot or whatever, then suddenly that opens the door to like everybody asking you to do a photo shoot. So,
So how, in terms
um,
of genres and stuff, how did it progress? Like what kind of stuff did you shoot at the beginning and then through to now?
mostly I just did like bathing suit stuff because it's Hawaii. It's easy to go to the beach, and I had swimsuits and stuff. And like I did like a lot of like stuff with like dresses and whatnot and some cosplay stuff. And I mean I still do like a lot of like lingerie and swimsuit modeling, but I've also kind of gone more experimental too. So I've done like body paint, I've done like the black tape stuff. I've done like the projector mapping over like the body kind of shots too, which is really cool. Um, I've done underwater shoots as well.
Our very first shoot together
So
was underwater.
yeah, and then I've connected with a few like underwater shooters, and it's pretty cool like how they do it with the underwater housing. It's a totally different game
Yeah.
actually with the underwater shoots, and it's really cool. I do want to do one with like this one day with maybe like the what's it called? Jellyfish or stingrays or something, or
A,
that would be kind of
a
cool.
lot of people do the underwater ones with octopus.
Oh yeah, octopus. I've there's some octopuses. It's actually possible to do it in Hawaii.
Hmm.
To get like the little ones, like the Hawaiian octopus, apparently is pretty friendly. Um,
Yeah, there's a model
but
I follow in Hawaii
yeah,
who does a bunch of underwater stuff. And she's
yeah.
often
I
doing it
wasn't
with it.
sure though if yeah, I'm just never sure if that's considered like harassing the wildlife or not. It was never, no one ever told me for sure. Because I know octopuses are pretty perceptive and smart, so I assum
You could buy
if
it
they
from the
didn't like
fish
it, they would
market
just
already dead and then just pose with it. I'm sure it will dangle
no,
around.
you no, they you just find them in the reef and you find like a friendly one because like some of them, well, certain ones bite, so you don't want to mess with them because they'll
Okay.
bite you if you touch them.
Fair, fair.
Um,
So I have to
yeah,
thank you.
but I guess supposedly.
I have to thank
Oh.
you. You reminded me as we were going through that. You said that you've done the black tape thing. Actually, the last shoot I had in New York with Steph, we were doing the taping the body where you get some tape, and then you make kind of a bikini out of it. And so thank you for your feedback. I don't know if you remember, but you gave me a bunch of advice on, for this kind of body type, they tape it this way. For curvier or slimmer, do it this way or this way. So we followed your advice, and it turned out pretty great.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
We have a question asking, when did your hair go grey? Did you have a stressful incident in your
Oh
life?
well, I'm 69 years old, so it just happens.
There you go. And our course is currently 69% off, so that was the inspiration for that, obviously. What someone asking what happened to your pink background? I guess a friend of yours,
Oh,
Waltz.
hi, Waltz. How are you? Oh, you want to see the pink lights? I can turn them on. What? It's kind of bright in here though, so I feel like it doesn't really work that well.
You can see it a little, yeah. You normally stream
See,
at
it's like kind
nighttime?
of bright in here. Pink lights. But when it's dark in here at night and I stream, it's like my whole room lights up.
Cool. Okay, so I don't see any other questions coming through now, other than 101 saying that if you shoot with an octopus, I'll end up eating the octopus. I mean, that seems fair. There's one here. Thomas asks, Suki, where are you from? I heard you talk about Hawaii. Is that where you're from, or just somewhere you've spent some time?
Yeah, I am from Hawaii, basically. I was like raised here. I've lived on the mainland for college and stuff. So I've lived in Boston for 4 years before. And, I spent like 6 months in Seattle too. I don't think I would live there though, after being there for 6 months. Um, and I just bought a house out in Joshua Tree, so I'll probably be there a little bit more often too.
Nice. Why wouldn't you want to stay in Seattle? I heard that was a really cool city. I haven't been though.
It's a really cool city. It's actually a really cool city. It's just that the weather was too gloomy for me. It like made me kind of, like their seasonal affective disorder.
Okay.
Like, I guess sad. I guess is the correct is actually a pretty accurate abbreviation.
You're just very sensitive.
Yeah, when it's like really nice. Yeah, it's just really nice in the summer, but I thought it was like, and I do like overcast weather, but then I guess like, I can't do that every single day for like, so I felt like it was a little bit gloomy for me.
So the UK would not be an option for you then?
I guess not.
Sorry, 101 blog. All right, let's jump back in and take a look at some more pictures. If you have more questions, send them through. We will jump back out. SRD saying that Suki is mega smart. So let's get your big brain working on this shot from Karen Weissman. So this looks like it's taken at one of those towns that's kind of maintained as a tourist attraction. What's it? Is it? There's one in Australia, but I mean, it looks like it with the covered wagon and everything being ye olde, but so well maintained, and with the sign, it's. But still, nothing wrong with that.
This is Utah? Oh, Utah. That's cool. I've always wanted to go to Utah.
Sunny there.
I mean, it's clearly a ghost town. It's a maintained ghost town, so that does fit the definition of abandoned. I mean, I guess abandoned doesn't necessarily have to mean like how do I pronounce it? Derelict or whatever.
Yep, derelict.
It doesn't have to necessarily be like in a state of advanced decay necessarily. Yeah, I actually think this is a really good shot. The sky looks really nice. I like that the sign is there. It's a pretty cool sign. It's in focus. And then that church house looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's a cool shot.
So for those wondering, this was taken at 24mm at f20. That's how Karen has gotten the sign all the way through to, well, at least the church, but maybe, or the saloon, whatever that is, maybe out to the horizon almost. If you're into the HDR effect, then this has that definitely going on. But the exposure's right on
What does
point.
HDR mean?
So it means well, it's an acronym for high dynamic range. It's so
Okay.
it's you could have a shot that has a wide dynamic range. It just means like how dark are the darkest, how bright are the brightest, and how much tonal range is in the overall shot. We often use the term though to mean when someone does it artificially, like gets a dark shot and a light shot and blends them, like you were asking about that first truck shot, so that you get darker darks and brighter brights than you would really be able to get in a shot. Or in a shot like this where it's kind of, you see how it's so gritty, and like looking at the clouds, there's complete black through to complete white just right next to each other. It doesn't look quite realistic, but it just looks kind of hyper
It's
realistic.
like those yeah, it's like those shots where like they like turn up like the saturation really high, kind of.
Yeah, if in the
So that
color
would be
version of this, it would be super saturated, yeah. So sounds like you like this one.
okay,
Will I
yeah.
give this a pick?
Yeah, I think so. I like it.
Yobo saying that this looks like a shot from Westworld. Um, cool. Okay.
Detroit is the best place for abandoned pick. Detroit, you might you might run into some issues shooting in Detroit though. Um,
How about?
Fun fact though, I did go to oh
No,
sorry,
you
go
go
on.
ahead.
I did go to like this music festival in Detroit. That was really cool. And what was really cool about it was they threw all the after parties in all the abandoned buildings around Detroit. So like there were after parties in like these old abandoned hotels and like
Oh
warehouses, and it
wow.
was really cool. So
What was the festival?
yeah, there were like all the old chandeliers and stuff. It was called Movement Festival Detroit. It was like a ode to techno, where techno was born. Anyways, that's going off topic. But
No,
yes,
no,
Detroit has a
that's
lot of
cool.
really cool abandoned places. It's
That's
just not very safe, I think, in certain places over there.
Have you ever heard of the Bergheim, or is it Berghain? Berghain? Anyway, the biggest,
Berghain?
yeah, the club
Berghain,
in.
the club? Yeah, yeah, in Germany.
Have you been?
I've never been to Germany, but
Ah,
I've heard about that club. I've heard it's really funny because like it seems like it's like really hard to get into, but then I've heard that some people like the criteria when you get in there, it almost seems like super arbitrary because like you'll have like people who are really dressed up, but then you'll have like some dude in like a full shaman gear just like waving shit around and you and so it's like kind of funny because there's just a really
yeah.
contrast in
For those who've
the
not heard of
clientele. I
it,
feel like.
it's like it's meant to be the ultimate mega club, but it's we Tina and I, a colleague of mine that I used to film with a decade ago, we went when we were in Berlin but didn't get in, and she looks like you but had a really sexy like nightclub type outfit on, just the kind you would think will get allowed into any club, but we didn't get in. Apparently Tricky was playing that night, so you needed to know someone, already have a ticket. But it's like a 24/7 club where people will go in and just stay for a week. Apparently once you're in you can stay, but it's actually like a huge abandoned school that they turned into a giant club. So it reminded me of what you were saying in Detroit, and when you see photos from inside, it is just like a gigantic gutted 6-story building with like exposed pillars and debauchery going on everywhere. Anyway, let's jump back to Carsten's shot, and this looks like I don't know, someone left right before lunchtime. I quite like this one. The view down through the 3 rooms, the smashed windows, everything peeling off the wall, and then the little bit of culture in this room with the nice chairs and the artwork and the bottle of wine. I don't know if you set this one up, Carsten, but I quite like this. What do you think, Suki?
I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I think they set the bottle of wine there, but I think it's like a nice little contrast, and it's kind of cool because it actually matches that portrait,
Yeah.
that picture behind on the wall. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Pick. Pick. Did that pick? I'm not clicked in. Pick. Okay. Kevin Connery. What do you think of this one? Do you think we get enough of the scene to get the abandoned vibe of the location? What do you think, Suki?
Okay. I think so. I think it definitely looks abandoned. And like the left side of the picture, everything's kind of peeling, crumbly. And
We're
then
talking about Kevin Connery.
oh, Kevin Connery. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Um, hmm. It's definitely worn down, and there's all that graffiti. So yeah, I could see it being like being um abandoned. Maybe not like as heavy graffiti as the water park, but yeah,
Hmm.
it does look abandoned-ish. Or it looks like it could be a set for an abandoned place, but no, I think it's abandoned. There's like writing on the mirror and stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
I like that you've put the light in the back, made a couple of little zones of light here. Um, I don't know. I don't know if you've done something to the light on her face, or it's just that her makeup was much brighter and whiter, paler than her actual skin tone. It makes her face look a little bit dullish and a little bit, I don't know. To me, it doesn't quite match the look of the gritty scene, her perfectly manicured face, and then the soft, pale light on her face. But cool use of a frame. What do you think of this lock? I guess if it hasn't been unlocked for 30 years, that makes it abandoned. There's something fascinating about old doors and old locks and keyholes and stuff like that. So I can see the appeal of taking a shot like this one from Leigh Stevens. What do you think, Suki, or the people in the chat?
That's a cool picture. It looks like the lock is almost like corroded into the metal too. The paint is peeling. Yeah, I like it. It's a cool picture.
I just saw a question from, or a comment from Philip Johnson in the chat. Abandoned doesn't seem the actual subject. I guess you're talking about the previous one. And that's a good point. Whilst I am open to having abandoned for this mean deserted or empty, this shot, because what we're seeing of Kevin's shot is mainly the model and there's not much, like it's mainly a white wall, that's kind of what I was getting at, and that maybe the next room that has more graffiti, we would get more of that atmosphere. We'll look at Norbert's shot and one more, then jump back to any questions that you have, so please send them in, folks. Excuse me. So like this, you know, it's been heavily done up with makeup to make her look dirty and to fit in with the environment, but I do feel overall she blends into this environment better than the last one with the kind of perfect makeup poking through a window. You could play with the angle that you've got here in her position to get more of the path. If we could see the path going beyond her, it might give a really cool effect to have the disappearing point in the shot. And maybe you could bring it in a little at the top so that we just get a little closer to her, not this close, but you know, just to above her head, so bring in a bit of that top section. But I like this one. She certainly fits the location. Thoughts, Suki?
Yeah, I think that the model fits better into the abandoned theme here as well. But yeah, I think, you know, her if I see like there's like a little bit of like a smudge on her face that she did, sort of like a war paint, and I think that like for makeup wise, it would have been like more consistent if she applied it like throughout her body, kind of, sort of, like, you know,
Yeah.
did some markings along like her arms and her legs too, and I think it would go well with her tattoos. I see she has like a couple of tattoos, like a tattoo on her chest and stuff, and her arms already in her leg. Um,
Yeah, it's hard when you
I
do that to have it really look natural rather than kind of
yeah,
dolled up beauty
or
version
like
of actually looking dirty, because just around that area doesn't really make sense. If anything, that would be the area that doesn't get it. You know, if you're wearing goggles and doing work, your whole face would be blacked out except for that area. So having it right around the eyes doesn't really make perfect sense. But you get the idea of what's going for here. So one more, and then let's see your questions. The endless white. This Richard Wintle's shot of the graveyard. I mean, yeah, depressing. Does tell the story though. I wonder if getting down lower and wider and getting the main headstone be the majority of the shot. I think it could do with less headroom, more snow at the bottom of the frame personally. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get more from graveyards, to be honest, or cemeteries. Have you ever shot in a cemetery, Suki?
No.
Not your thing?
I guess not. No, I guess the cemeteries isn't really my thing. Maybe I'll do a shoot in a morgue though. That might be a good idea.
Might be. Okay. Yes, that's much more cheery and uplifting than a graveyard.
I know.
So let's take a look at what questions we've had come through. Thank you again to Juan and Yobo for sending them. Sean Vine, Matt, you may have covered this, but did you have any equipment problems in the extreme heat on the shoot in the desert? I think you did pick up the course, Sean. So if anyone sees it, I'll apologize now. I must have through the course mentioned 10 times of we need to keep this moving because we're so hot, or explaining what was going on in terms of the heat. I've shot all around the world in all kinds of environments, like minus 40 Celsius through to plus 50, but that day was kind of intense. For example, the only 2 pairs of dressy shoes that Suki had with her were gorgeous Louboutin patent leather heels, but it meant, you know, after 8 minutes in the sun, we could start to smell her feet roasting inside these leather shoes. So we were like pouring water on her feet or the ground or her butt, wherever she was standing or sitting, so that she wouldn't burn. We must have had like 10 coats of SPF 100 sunscreen on by the end of the day and still ended up getting tans. It was so hot. In terms of equipment issues, the Sony video camera a couple of times maybe overheated, but I was really impressed that it didn't much. Jonathan was if this is it, he had a white towel that he was covering the camera so it wasn't sitting in direct sunlight through most of the day, which caused a little fun in editing because occasionally a bit of the towel would get over the lens, which I'd need to then change camera angles. The only thing, it was so hot, at times I had difficulty seeing the rear LCD or even the EVF with the glare and everything that we were dealing with. And playback, you could barely see it with the direct overhead desert sun, so that was something. But we got through it okay. Now, we need to keep this moving because I know Suki has something she has to do soon, and we're 5 minutes to the hour, so let's get through these last few, and then if we have any other questions, we'll try and get to them at the end. Next shot is, what do you think of this one, Suki? It is Sean Vine, and he's in the chat. So this is another gas station.
Yeah, a lot of abandoned gas stations out there. Definitely looks abandoned, and I like how it's overgrown. For the editing, though, I feel like I would prefer a bit of a darker edit for this kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it is actually really dark. Maybe your screen is set quite bright, because this shot has no highlights. In terms of the histogram, there's nothing close to blowing out. But then the actual shop itself, you can't see much in the shadows.
Let me see.
Certainly
Maybe if I switch the screen. My brightness is really high. Yeah.
A tip for most people, well, anyone at home, almost everyone's home screen, if you haven't calibrated it, is too bright. So that could be something to keep in mind when you're editing your shots. Most phones and most computer screens are set brighter than the default calibration, so you might not see exactly what is in the file in that sense. Certainly looks abandoned, get that desolate vibe. I just don't think that this was the best time of day to be shooting it, or maybe shooting it from the other side, so we would at least get this, whatever that is, City Go or something, the sign with a bit of light on there. And then having the shop itself completely in shadow, it's kind of hard to get anything out. Maybe if the sun were a little lower in the sky so it was more evenly lit, would be easier to see through. Yeah. Now, this one from Thanos, this is a color HDR, Suki, you were asking about. So see how this has no kind of dark shadows, and it's just got loads of, for me it kind of feels like itty bitty details that kind of make my eyes want to bleed, because it's just so gritty in terms of its detail. And the colors kind of look washed out but saturated at the same time.
Yeah, that's like the saturation thing. Yeah, I would say it's a little bit more of that, as you would call it, HDR is a little bit too much in color. Um, it's definitely an abandoned place, and it's definitely a cool location. I do like those like details on the ceiling of like the exposed brick with the plaster kind of coming off of it. I think that's a cool thing.
I think it's an interesting location, but I don't really get what the three models are doing there. Are they praying or something? It doesn't kind of come together as a single image for me, the three people and that background. We have two more shots, and I'm sorry to rush, guys, but I had promised Suki that we would try and get this done in an hour because she's got a busy day, so let's get to them. Thomas Clemens, I really like this one for whatever reason. The bike there on the pier, it probably got dropped over the edge 30 years ago and has just been rotting there. 28mm f8, I don't see, this was taken on D300S back in 2012, so digging into the archives for this one. I don't know, overall I like this. It looks like it could have been taken in 1920 Paris or something. I'm going to give that a pick. Any thoughts on that one, Suki?
Yeah, I really like this one a lot. It's a really good composition. The detail's nice. Yeah, it's really nice. I like this one a lot.
Pick. And then our last one from Wolfgang Harnisch. What do you think of this one? This looks like the end of a town's livelihood when factories like this shut down. So this could be your morgue. Here's the furnaces for the crematorium.
Yeah, I like this as well. It's a very, I think the black and white works out a lot for it. Yeah, it's actually, I really like this one.
Yeah, often when you
That
look
lighting
at
coming through the side is kind of cool too, and those little slats.
So often when you look at shots like this, or when I do, I'm thinking maybe if you'd stepped here, there, or this, that, to emphasize this, that, or the other part more, it would be better. But on this one, I think it's really nicely done. The only thing, and something that I've started doing for a lot of shoots, you'll see it in my next ZFC video, I did it with Honey in her gym, that light coming through from the left, if you kicked up some dust to have particles in the air with then the light coming through it, I think would give a really cool atmosphere. And you can also carry a can of atmosphere with you to add that into a shot. That I think would elevate this to the next level, but I think still that's a cool shot, and let's give it a pick. So let's review our pick images and choose a winner from these. We had Adam Anderson with his truck at the Roadhouse, Karen Weissman with the ghost town in Utah, Karsten Larson with the bottle of wine on the table, Thomas Clemens with the bike on the pier, and then Wolfgang Harnisch, our final one. So why don't we choose one each, Suki, and then we'll see if we chose the same one or not, or if not, we'll give 2 prizes.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with Thomas Clemens, the bike shot. All 5 of them are deserving winners, but for something different and certainly long-term abandoned, and the simplicity of it, I really like the Thomas Clemens one.
Let's see. Well, I really like Wolfgang's shot a lot, but I kind of also want to give the pick to like someone that did a color shot so that there's not like 2 black and white picks. So I would say Karsten Larson with the bottle of wine on the table in the abandoned house. I think I like that one a lot.
Okay, cool. Well, it doesn't have to be color black and white. So let's say Karsten Larson and Thomas Clemens for the main prize, and I will contact Wolfgang for a runners-up prize as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds good.
So let's see if we have 1 more minute of your time. I think we had a question come through for you. AFI asked, do you use any cameras, Suki?
I don't really know how to do like photos. I have a camera. I have a Sony Alpha 6500, and I was thinking about getting the 7, considering it.
For what
But
kind
not
of
sure.
purpose?
I do it for streaming, but also because I do want to do like, vlogging and stuff, or like YouTube videos, and I think that would be, well, the one I have now actually is pretty good, so I don't really need another one, but I guess a lot of people I know that did go for the A7 really liked it. So
Need is a dirty word in our community, so never feel the requirement to justify it need. If you want it, that's plenty.
yeah, need is definitely don't need it, but definitely want.
Depending
I
on
do
what
like the
kind of
Sony
stuff you want to
mirrorless.
do, if you're going to be literally walking vlogging, the stabilized all-in-one cameras like DJI make that is the camera on a gimbal, they're kind of hard to beat for a steady shot if you want to be able to actually walk and not have it shake
Oh,
around.
yeah, just like have a GoPro or something, and then yeah, for like actual.
Well, they make
Yeah,
one that is the gimbal with the camera already built in. It's like an all-in-one
Really? Oh, I've
piece.
never seen
Yeah.
that.
So then, rather than using your phone, which then you always want to be checking, it's got a camera built in. I forget the name of it, but yeah, they have, I think, a 2nd generation one out. But then a lot of brands have that option now, like this one, if you can still see me, Suki, that have the screen. But if you already have lenses for your Sony, then sticking with Sony probably makes sense for you.
Oh, I see the Pocket, DJI Pocket, or the Ronin.
It'll be the Pocket.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
the
it's
Ronin's a
Pocket.
big gimbal, yeah. So Thomas is saying they have a Pocket 2 as well. All right, nice. So thank you all for entering. I haven't actually thought of next week's theme. Dang. So I will think of one by the end of the day. You can head on over to macgranger.com/live to check it out. I don't know how many people are getting notifications of these live streams, so please make sure your notifications are turned on. And if you can, when you're watching other videos, please do leave a comment of some kind. It helps the juicy algorithm so that people do get seen the videos. It's kind of ridiculous if YouTube just decides to share your video more, you end up getting 3 times the views, which helps me get access to equipment like this to test out for you guys. And the amount of work I put in is the same. It's just, is it getting interaction? And then it gets promoted to more people. Thank you to Yobo and Juan for helping out in the chat today. Big thanks to Suki for coming in and giving us your time. I was, was quite surprised we didn't have many technical issues. Often first time we're having someone in on Skype, there's loads, but I guess having a superstar Twitcher, I should have expected no less. They actually look like really nice headphones. So those Sennheisers, is that the mic you're using?
Huh?
Is the mic you're talking
Pardon?
to us, is that the one on your head or do you have another mic?
Oh no, I have a mic over here. And then I have the NVIDIA broadcast going through noise canceling in NVIDIA broadcast. So, yeah.
So high tech. What is on your board of shamelessness?
Oh, those are people that sub to me on Twitch.
What is it? Can we choose something?
Oh no,
Is
it's
this
just
like a
I write
dare
their
board?
name down. It's like a
Ah,
no, it's like a Hall of Fame or well, Hall of Shame rather.
shamelessness. Gotcha. All right. So Karen is in the chat. Thanks, Matt. She was one at the Ghost Town photo. Sean, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Jason, glad you could too. TS is a Samyang 14mm AF for video. When you pan, objects seem to move inwards as they move from the lens to the center. So Tanya's asking, no, so what's happening there is you have a super wide angle lens, the edges are drinking in more, so as you do a pan it is going to look like it's kind of suddenly sucked into the middle. That's just the nature of an ultra wide angle lens. If you don't want that to happen, don't use a 14mm. Basically that's not a fault of Samyang. That's an issue with ultra wide lenses. You know what? Paul just suggested night lights for a theme. Why not? Because I just did a shoot with Suki on that topic. Sorry, not Suki. Gosh, you're there. Yesterday I was shooting with Honey and we did some nightlight stuff. So that's going to be our theme for next week. Night lights. Excellent. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for the suggestion. Thank you, Suki. Let's see if I can get everyone's names correct. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. So you can head to mattgranger.com/live to check out the Nightlights comp and the link in the description for our desert road trip. The 70% off launch sale ends tomorrow, so don't miss out. And hope I'll see you soon in Hawaii or Joshua Tree or Australia or Hong Kong soon, Suki.
Okay, see you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. And we're done.